If you ever read or listened to the audiobook of The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, I think that's his name, Paulo Coelho, Brazilian author, then you might be familiar with the term maktub, the concept of maktub, the term maktub, which is an Arabic word, which means written, And so the idea is that there is a destiny for everyone. There is a cosmic destiny, cosmic fate, and that it's all essentially determined. It's all essentially written. And I grew up, I grew up in a Muslim household, and I heard that very often. Qada wa qadar, qada wa qadar, qada wa qadar, which means destiny, essentially fate. Fate. Qadar would probably be more fate. It's more, fate, destiny, and my parents had such a strong belief in it. They still do. And so I heard that all the time, growing up. Qada wa qadar, qada wa qadar. Somebody dies, you'd hear my dad say it. Qada wa qadar. And so maktub, I heard that word also said, growing up. Maktub, written. Maktub. And the concept can be very terrifying, and it can be very relieving at the same time. And I would sort of see that first it could be terrifying, and after that it's such a relief, because it frees you up from the prison of the mind and the prison of it projecting into the future and into the past, which I'll explain to you in a second. So essentially the idea is that, and I talked about this before, I talked about free will and determinism. The idea is that you are running off an experience which is totally simulated, totally determined, totally written. Like watching a movie, sitting down in the theater, watching any movie. The movie's already determined, it's already written. There's nothing you could do about it. And so, if you're sitting in a movie, one of the apps, like, if you want to buzzkill the moment, if you want to buzzkill the movie, start in the middle of the movie. Start thinking about the future of the movie. Start thinking about it. Start saying, well, I wonder, is this character gonna live? Is he gonna die? What's gonna happen? And that starts to kill the fun of being there in the movie. Really, what are you gonna spend like half? If the movie's 2 hours, if you're spending an hour thinking about what's gonna happen in the future in the movie, as if you have any power to change it, I mean, you just wasted time. You didn't enjoy the movie. And because the movie's already written, it's already determined, it's already set. It's already set in stone. Every event, every thought, every word, everything that you could perceive of. From the thought of you going out to take a walk today, you had the thought implanted in you, determined, right? Everything, the whole script. It's like a book written. It's like a movie already written, and you're experiencing it. And it is what it is. That's the way it is. Whether you entertain that, whether you still think there is like you have control and free will. I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Okay, it is what it is. And the matter of fact is, you're an experiencer. You're an awareness playing out a particular movie, playing out an infinite number of movies simultaneously, actually. So it's my movie, your movie, everybody's movie. And so that is terrifying, because you realize I have no control. It's suddenly you're shaky. I mean, you thought you had control all this time. You thought you were doing something. You plan, you sit, you plan, you say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to control, I'm going to, take care of business. And suddenly, your entire worldview comes down crumbling. I have no control. I never had control to begin with. I had no control over anything. I have no control over my birth. I have no control over my death. Now, the you that has no control is precisely that you which is finite. The you that is infinite has control, already determined that this is what I want to experience. You understand? So you do have control. You already made the choice. So you do have complete free choice, actually, complete free will, which already has been made, which is for you to experience this movie as is, as it's written. and as it's maktub, as it's written. So the one that doesn't have control is the finite character that you're playing, which comes to be born, comes to die at some point. And so, you know, it's like terrifying. It's like, man, I got no ground here. I got no foundation. I'm shaky. It's like driving a car, and suddenly you realize the car is driving itself. You're not, you're pressing on the gas, and it's not doing anything. You thought initially that I'm the one driving the car because it appeared to you that way. That's the illusion. And then suddenly you're like, actually, it doesn't matter if I press on the gas or the brake. The car is just driving itself. Kind of scary if you find yourself in the middle of a traffic jam on the highway, and in the middle of chaos, and suddenly you realize the car is driving itself. You're at the whim, at the mercy of the car now, and the car is self-driving. It's just driving itself, and you have no idea where it's driving you to. That's what makes it even way more terrifying. And that's when concepts, very old, ancient concepts that are, you know, uh, just because something is ancient doesn't mean it's useful. But these concepts, I mean, they're eternal truths in many ways. The concept of surrender. In fact, you know, the word Muslim means he who surrenders. And in Ashtanga Yoga, one of the, I think it's in the first, the yamas and the niyamas. So the first two tenets of the Ashtanga Yoga, one of them is surrender. Surrender to God. Surrender to God. In the Bible it says, not my will, but thy will. I think this cow is enjoying the conversation. It sort of got up and it's curious. It wants to know. It's almost like it knows that, but it doesn't know that it knows. Okay, so, hello. Cows are smart. Very, very intelligent. So, what was I saying? You distracted me. Okay, what I was saying about the car, and about it being self-driving, and about it just sort of going on, doing its own thing. Yeah, the concept of surrender, right? That's what I was saying. So again, I talked about the word Muslim means he, she who surrender, one who surrenders. And then, you know, Ashtanga Yoga, the concept of surrender to Ishtara, to God, to Brahman. It's all over all the scriptures. In the Bhagavad Gita, it's like, you know, Krishna tells Arjuna, surrender yourself to me, dedicate the fruits of your action to me. Surrender. In the Bible, not my will, but thy will, O Lord. So the concept of surrender is channeled to us in this on this earth, in this plane, by individuals who have gone to the void, who have you know, done enough praying, meditation, maybe psychedelics, plant medicines, etc., and have come to realize that to be the truth, that the truth is there is no free will, that everything is determined, that everything is just, it's scripts running off, and it's God experiencing them all simultaneously. And so then they would tell us things like that, right? You know, the Tao is all about surrendering to the Tao, right? So it's about the flowing with the Tao, the surrender to the Tao. It's like all these individuals come to realize this eternal truth, that, you know, it's all like just scripts running off. And so they come back, they tell us, well, surrender, very important, surrender. If you want to free yourself from the burden of your mind, from the burden of past and future projections, just surrender. Just let go of the illusion of control. Let go of the illusion that you're controlling something, that you're determining something, that you're somehow changing your future, determining your future, and just surrender. And let the Tao, let the process, let God do all of that for you, because God, it's like everything is programmed for evolution. And it's like, well, if I surrender, then, you know, or, you know, if I'm like right now, I'm eating really bad food, junk food, and I just surrender and I just eat junk food, you know, like that's it. I just eat junk food. Like what? Like my future, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna have cancer. Well, if you actually fully surrender, pretty soon you'll spontaneously change your behavior. That's what happens. That's the funny paradox, is what happens when you totally surrender. You say, well, okay, not I mean, I might have cancer. I guess now I have these cravings. I can't help them. I'm powerless. All right, I surrender. Well, what happens is now, because you're totally in the presence of the Tao, of God, of the process, of the infinite cosmic love, now cosmic love will take care of things for you. And all these habits will spontaneously change, believe me. That's how it happens, believe me. It's just the way it is. And then you'll start to eat healthier, you start to change things, because the change is just happening on its own at that point. Because God, the Tao, the way, is always looking to evolve. But you have to get out of the way for the way to do its thing, to act in its ways. And so concepts like surrender, concepts like just let go, invite not the future, think about not the past, invite not the future, be here, surrender to the way, surrender to the Tao, and watch the spontaneous change occur. Watch your future watch your future be a desirable future. It will be a desirable future if you fully always let go into the moment. Your future will be desirable. It will be a desirable one. There's no way around it. In desirable, you have to really understand that. You might have a stroke, and that might be desirable from that state of consciousness where you're fully surrendered. Because you understand the laws of karma, cause and effect, everything happens for the common good of all, etc. But it takes surrender. It takes letting go of the illusion of control, that there's a controller, that there's a somebody doing something. Because there isn't a somebody doing something, there are simply happenings. And part of these happenings, part of these scripts, is the illusion of control, is this ego thing that thinks it's in control. That's part of the script, by the way. And you've got to surrender to that too, before you're able to sort of transcend that illusion. Is you begin by thinking I have choice, by acting like you have choice. And then once you realize that you have no choice, then you come back into the game and you play it from that place of knowing. So, do you want coffee or do you want tea? I want tea, thank you very much. You act like you're doing something, but you know you're not. You know that this decision has already been made. If you actually zoom out and observe the whole thing, the decision of you picking tea has already been made. Because your ancestors maybe drank tea, you drank tea when you were a kid, etc., etc. That decision's already been made. And if you rebelled and said, well, I'm going to rebel, I'm going to pick coffee, that decision has already been made also, because your role in the drama is to be the rebel. You see, there's no way around it. There's no way around it, folks. But you've got to really zoom out. You've got to really see that all your choices have been made. But while I'm playing the game, I got to pretend, I got to make believe. I gotta make believe that I'm actually, there's still a doer, there's still somebody doing something. I make believe, Coffee, tea, thank you, coffee, I like a cup of tea, thank you very much. I'm making a choice, I'm really making a choice, oh, look at me, I'm doing something here. But the relief part is that you stop trying so much, you stop straining so much, and you realize that it's kind of actually absurd to think about the future. Because what are you gonna do, change it? What are you gonna do? Oh, yeah. I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna really rewrite the story. I can't rewrite the story. It's already written. It's finished. Predetermined manifestation. It's already finished. Yeah, it's already finished. But you don't want like watching a movie. You don't want to jump ahead. So you play like first person also. Sit down and play first person. Just be here now. What's happening now? I'm taking a walk. I'm talking. That's what's happening now. Okay. What am I thinking about the future? I mean, I don't want to ruin the movie. I could look at the Akashic records. I could see, David, what's his name? Not David. Edgar Casey, the dream prophet, was psychic with an unbelievable accuracy rate. He was able to look into the future and see people's futures and give them readings. And I think he had something like 80, 90% accuracy, which is insane. Well, because the future's already written. Some people, some folks, they sort of, their thing is to come here and show us that it's all written. Edgar Casey being one of them. So he's able to look into the future and predict it, but you can only predict the future if you're so unbiased. And Edgar Casey must have been really unbiased. No agenda, nothing at all, not trying to manipulate anything, simply seeing things as they are. But if you're gonna be like, I'm gonna look into the future, and then you see it and it's already tainted with your desires. You want this to happen and that to happen, you're not gonna be able to read the future. If you wanna read the future, you have to be so unbiased, such an observer. Like if let's say you're dating someone, okay, and then you'd like to know, am I gonna end up with this person? Are we gonna get married or something? Now you clearly there probably is a good chance you have a desire for either yes or no. Now you might be like, well, I'm gonna be a really good psychic today, and I'm gonna close my eyes. I'm gonna really look into our future here. But the thing is, because your desire for either the manifestation of the outcome or the non-manifestation is so strong, it already taints what is. You can't see it. You can't see it. If, let's say, you want to end up with this person, that's all you're gonna see when you close your eyes. That's all you're gonna see is that. So that's already tainted by the desire. But if you could really be an observer, you could really look and see, are we gonna end up together or no? You could really see it. But then again, I'm sitting in the movie. It's 2 hours and I'm an hour in. What good does it do me to know the future? What good? Why did I pay for this movie? Why did I come here and pay $10, $15 to watch this movie? Because I want to watch this movie. Because I don't want to know what happens. I want to be surprised. I want to be shocked. I want to, even if the ending isn't desirable, like Game of Thrones, the shock value in Game of Thrones. Especially the first few seasons, Spoiler alert, when Ned Stark dies. I mean, who wanted Ned Stark to die? Nobody wanted Ned Stark to die. He gets beheaded, and it wasn't very nice, but it gave the show an allure, because although all of us were pretty much pissed that Ned Stark got killed, but that shock factor, we didn't know. I mean, imagine in the middle of the season somebody told you Ned Stark's gonna die. How much of a buzzkill would that have been? You would have been really pissed. But because of the shock value of how the events turned out, you were pissed, but you were also kind of admiring how the whole story turned out. You're so here, you're so in the now. That's what you signed up for. You're watching the show because you don't want to know what happens. Very few people want to know what happens. You always say, people, don't tell me. Spoiler alerts. I said spoiler alerts because nobody wants to know what happens. Do you really, when you really examine it, do you really want to know what happens in your life? No. The truth is, no, you didn't sign up to know what happens in your life. Now, when you go through the movie, you get foreshadowing. There are certain things that happen that foreshadow. Just like, by the way, movies, like art depicts life and life depicts art. Okay, if you want to learn about life, just observe the way movies are. Okay, it's crazy because who's writing these movies? Who's writing these plots? It's God consciousness in a subjective manifestation. Okay, so who's writing them? It's God. So God is imitating the grandiose design of the whole thing. So in movies, you have foreshadowing. Right? Like there is foreshadowing, they'll say books, stories, it's all stories anyway. A lot of movies are based on books, same thing. And then, so think about it. There's foreshadowing. So you get your foreshadowing. You definitely in life, certain things, they're foreshadowed for you. You can sort of tell, that's what's going to happen in the future. Right? You sort of can be able to tell. But that's it, just foreshadowing. Like if you're drawn to something and you just kind of see it. Like for example, I see myself in a few years just being a breatharian. It's already been foreshadowed. It's foreshadowed in my script. I could just feel it. I could sense it, and so I sort of know that that's gonna happen, but I have no idea about the details, when, how I'm gonna feel, what is it gonna be like, and I don't want to know. Frankly, I don't want to know. Okay, foreshadowing is good enough. It's good enough for me to know so that I can put in the work, so that I could sort of keep watching the movie frame by frame and see how it turns out. But frankly, I don't want to know when and how. It's like it ruins the whole fun of experiencing the movie moment to moment, and not having the spoilers. Otherwise it's spoilers. So deep down, you really don't want to know the future. And when you understand that deep down you don't want to know the future, then you stop thinking about the future so much, because now you understand it. See, I'm kind of a bit of a mental person. I really need to understand something intellectually and mentally before I could fully embody it. And I really have to understand this concept. That's why I'm making a video on it. I have to understand that, look, deep down, I don't want to know my future, because I think about the future as much as anybody else. And deep down, now that I know deep down, after deconstructing the whole thing, I don't really want to know the future. Now I could probably even let loose even further on the thing, and just be like, well, every time I have a thought about the future, I'm like, oh, remember, everything is written, everything is maktub, and you really deep down don't want to know how the movie ends. So just come back here, And so everybody has different devices to get the job done, if you will. And the job is to be here. The job is to enjoy the movie. The job is to experience the movie. Experience the movie frame to frame, second to second, moment to moment. And sit through the whole thing, because, you know, I mean, what are you gonna do? You signed up for the movie, you wrote the movie, you're the director, you're the actor, you're the watcher. You're the director, you're the actor, you're the watcher. So from the watcher's point of view, you see that everything's written, everything's determined. From the actor's point of view, I have free will, I'm doing something. And you're both simultaneously. Okay, you're doing both. Like right now, I'm watching myself walk and talk, and I'm also walking and talking. I'm watching how the whole thing is determined, and I'm watching that this video has a beginning and has an end, and how everything that is being said here is already scripted. I'm watching it simultaneously. I have no idea what I'm going to say next, and it feels like I'm saying something. It feels like I'm thinking. It feels like I'm doing something. It's a simultaneous thing. It's happening at the same time. It's happening at the same time. Like right now, that's what's happening. I'm watching and I'm acting. I'm watching, I see the whole thing is scripted. I'm acting, I feel like I have a certain level of determining my future and determining my actions and really making decisions, right? And I directed the whole thing. And so the free choice, that total free will, is the free will of coming here and experiencing the script. But as far as your character doing something, it's all just scripted. And so everything is maktub. Now, that's for me now, you know, after going through this, it's like it's a relief. You don't have to think about the future anymore. You don't have to try. You know, the whole concept of Wu Wei, you know, the Tao, the Wu Wei is doing without doing, acting without acting, speaking without speaking. It's certainly for me, when I make videos and I'm in the flow like I am today, it certainly feels like I'm talking without talking. There's no talker. That's Wu Wei in a nutshell. You know, it's like, that's why I make videos when I feel like I want to make videos, because I'm in the flow, so I don't have to talk. I don't have to think. I'm thinking without thinking. I'm speaking without speaking. I'm walking without walking. Everything is effortless, you see? And so if you align yourself with the way and you relinquish this illusion of control, then you could really live in harmony with the way, and you could really do things effortlessly. And everything begins to appear to be effortless. Everything just appears to flow. Like, and you're just sort of going along with the river. If the river's going downstream, you're just going with the river. There's no effort being done here, right? It's doing without doing. It's being without being, acting without acting, etc., 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 etc. Okay, so this was a pretty fun video to make. Invite not the future. Remember that every time you have thoughts about the future, remember everything we've discussed here. Remember, you don't really want to know the end of the movie because it ruins it for you. You really don't want to know deep down. Listen to the foreshadowing. There's always foreshadowing in the script. Listen to your own foreshadowings and just keep watching the movie moment to moment. Anytime you have a thought about the future, just remember everything we talked about here. Remember the you could even use it as a mantra, maktub. Written, it's all written. Maktub. The beginning is written, the end is written. You could even look at, you know, you could do a visualization where you could look at your entire life as a book, and you're opening the book exactly where you are now, and you could go to the past, that's your past story, and see that it's already been written, all of it, your birth date, everything that happened to you in the childhood. And then you could say, extrapolate and conclude that whatever is in the future of the book is already written as well. And then there's a relief that comes with that, because again, you're just like, you just flow. It's like, okay, you know, I don't have to think, because you really don't have to think. You don't have to do anything, because you really don't have to do anything. Things are just being done. It's not like I'm gonna just sit and do nothing. No, you do. I'm making a video right now, but the video is being made. I'm not making it. It's just being made. There's a difference there. Okay. So, thank you to all the Patreons for your support of these glorious rants. I love you guys. I love every single one of you. You guys are awesome. Thank you to everybody who donated on PayPal, the one-time donations. If you'd like to join the family, support this channel because it helped you in a certain way, and you have a couple of bucks a month to throw my way, or a couple of bucks, just a one-time thing to throw my way, that would be appreciated. You could also follow me on Instagram for more personal stuff. And just look up my name on Instagram. Love you guys. And until next time, may the force be with you.